Hey, what's up? It's your boy JP. I'm clocking right back in with you guys. And as you can see by the title of this video, the subject is going to be you can't escape classism. You just can't, bro. And before I really dive into that, I'm going to say this, man. Classism is everywhere. Classism is just an innate thing in human nature, bro. It's just like when humans are hungry, they have to eat. When humans are sleepy, they have to sleep. When humans are neutral, when humans are amongst a, a hierarchy class, when they're amongst a system, when they're amongst groups of people, they will instinctively classify themselves, above or apart from certain people based on appearance, based on status, based on physical capability, based on skills, right? So you have to understand this about people. People will always judge you on how you look and what you wear, no matter what. And I have to say this, you guys. People don't give a fuck about your personality. They don't. They don't give a fuck. People are not romantic. People are not philosophical. People are not deep. That's the shit you read in books. That's the shit you watch in movies, where people, try to figure you out on what you are internally. But in real life, that shit doesn't happen, man. People are visual people. What they see is what they're going to go off of. They're not going to take the time to try to figure you out, to try to dissect you, to try to feel you out, to try to see if there's gold within you, within your mortal coil. People are not like that, man. People are shallow, bro. People will always judge you based on how you look, what you wear, and, how capable you are. That's it, man. And classism, back to the subject of the video, classism is everywhere, bro. I grew up in the hood, and there's people in the hood who even believe that they were better than the people in the hood. Even though that, they grew up in the same dirty-ass, poor-ass hood. They went to the same dirty-ass, poor-ass schools. They rode the same dirty-ass, poor-ass buses. Their parents worked the same dirty-ass, poor-ass 9-to-5 jobs. They got the same dirty-ass, poor-ass zip code. But still, there would be some people in the fucking hood who believe that they're better than the other people in the hood, and they have the same exact fucking zip code. That's how classism is structured, man. It's everywhere, man. You can't escape it. Classism is at the very fucking bottom, where people are fucking eating each other to try to get to the top, and classism is at the very top as well. And even classism is even the middle class. Classism is everywhere, man. This is how people are wired, bro. This is how people are wired, and they cannot help it. They cannot override it, man. I don't give a fuck if it's the most religious, the most spiritual person, the most quote-unquote woke person, bro. This is human nature, man. We're always going to judge based on how you look, bro. That's just what it is, man. And people need that, bro. I've noticed that. People need to feel like they're better than you, bro. They need to feel that, like they're better than you. They need it. And when, even if you don't particularly meet a certain criteria, or even if you do meet a criteria, they're going to find something else wrong with you, bro, because they just don't like you. That's classism along mixed with, insecurity. Even if you look good, they're going to say, oh, well, but you're poor, though. And even if you're rich, they're going to say, oh, well, but you're ugly, though. Like, you can't please people, bro. Classism mixed with insecurity is a very horrible combination. Classism is everywhere, bro. Like what I said, man. There are people in the hood, who grew up having a little more nicer things than other people. Like let's just say, there's somebody in the hood who has a couple of Michael Jordan sneakers, and there's another person across the street from him who doesn't have that. He's going to think that he's better than the person across the street, even though they live on the same fucking poor-ass fucking neighborhood. Because that person who buys those Jordans need to feel like they're better than you. They need that classism fuck you to you, you know? When they're gonna go outside and absolutely dog shit you, actually talk bad about you, put you down, even though you guys live in the same neighborhood, you have the same zip code, go to the same school, ride the same bus, see the same people, do the same things, you know? But there's something in them that's gonna make themselves believe that they're better than you. Because that's human nature, man. Classism is human nature and you can't escape it. I don't care where you go. You could live in a hood, you could live in a middle class neighborhood, you could live in a upper class, the 1%. There's always going to be a system, there's always going to be a hierarchy in which classism separates people based on how you look, what you do, you know, how capable you are, how rich you are. There's always going to be a classism. You know, that's why I say school prepared you for human classism. School didn't prepare you for the real world. It prepares you for classism, because when you went to school, there was the jocks, there were the geeks, there were the nerds, there were there were the pretty girls, there were the emo girls, there were the loser girls, there were the fat kids, you know. It prepared you it prepared you for classism. It prepared you how people are gonna, it prepared you for how people treat certain people of different classes. So I'm gonna give you an example. Let's just say the rich high school jock, the star of a football team does something wrong in the school. He's not gonna catch nearly as much hell as if the geek or the fucking nerd does something bad. He's not gonna catch nearly as much hell. And deep down, he knows it. So school prepared you for human classism. It just didn't prepare you for how to succeed in the real world. All school prepared you was how people are going to react to certain people in different classes. That's classism, man. It was even classism in elementary school, classism in middle school, classism in high school, classism in college, classism in your neighborhood, classism at your job, classism in your own family. Some people, you probably have those in your family that treat other people better than what they treat you based off how you look, what you have, what job you have, and what you do, and how you are. There's classism everywhere, bro. You can't escape it, you guys. Don't try to. Don't try to say we're all equal. That will never happen, guys. An equal society will never fucking happen. Humans are too shallow. They are too shallow. They are too, predatory for that to happen. Humans need to feel like they're better than you. There's some people who they're so insecure they need to feel like that. They need to buy as many, name brand clothing. They need to buy as many, as many luxurious items as they can. They need to buy as many fancy cars as they can. They need to buy as much fancy houses as they can. Some people need to feel like they're better than you. They need that classism advantage over you. They like putting people down based on where they are. They like it. They like it, man. They love that shit, bro. And you guys don't try to romanticize people, man. Humans are classist beasts. They're classist beasts. And it's everywhere, even amongst the poor people. I told you about how the hood has its own classism. So that's how I knew, people are not really that deep. When you really understand how people are at their core, they're not really fucking deep. They're not really deep, Guys, this is the world we live in, man. This is the world we live in. You look at celebrity culture, man. So many celebrities have done fucking horrible things, man. They've done horrible fucking things. And they gotten away with it. They haven't been... They didn't have to be held accountable for those things. You know why? Because of classism. When you're at that level, man, you don't necessarily have to be a good person. You just don't. It's fucked up to say, you just don't. But back again, when you're at a certain class, when you're at a certain echelon in society, man, people are gonna overlook that shit. You know, people are gonna overlook it. They're going to, they're going to not, really be adamant in judging you as if it were another person of a lower class. And the people who are on the right side of classism, they know this. They know this, bro. Deep down, they know that they can be a shitty person. They can be an asshole. They can be a bitch. They can be horrible people. They can be a son of a bitch. They can be a piece of shit. They know it deep down, and they say they know this shit deep down, bro. And they know they're gonna get away with it. They know that no one's gonna check them. No, they know no one's gonna say anything to them. They know that, bro. They take advantage of it. They know it. You know. But classism rules our society. Nothing's above classism. Not racism, not socialism, not communism. Nothing's above classism. Nothing, you guys. Nothing. You know. And that's what I really understood about this world, living long enough in it. It's just a. You really think after high school this classism shit ends? That's what I used to think. I used to think after high school none of this shit would matter anymore. I used to think that after high school none of this, this fucking social hierarchy shit would even fucking matter anymore. But then I realized, man, this is just a human thing. It's implemented outside in the real world in different ways. And that's just how humans are. You put any large group sum of humans together, they're going to automatically, look around them and start separating themselves based on certain characteristics amongst those people. They're going to see who's rich. They're going to see who's pretty. They're going to see who's ugly. They're going to see who's tall. They're going to see who's short. They're going to see who's good looking, who's fairly dressed, who's badly dressed. They're gonna see who's black, who's white, who's Spanish, and they're gonna disassociate themselves based on that class. That's how they're gonna associate themselves, based on the most trivial shit about people. They're gonna disassociate themselves regarding shit that most people can't control. They can't control your fucking class. You can't control who you were born to. You can't control that you're poor. You can't control that you're short or tall. You can't control that you're, ugly or pretty. All that shit's genetics. But this is how people will disassociate themselves with you. They will disassociate themselves with you based on shit you cannot control. And it's nothing but brutal classism, man. It's brutal. Classism is more brutal than racism, in my opinion. It's more brutal. I've experienced racism, and classism is way worse. Way worse. I can deal with a person who doesn't like me because I'm black. I can deal with that. That's just human tribalism bullshit. I can deal with that shit. But can you imagine being somewhere and everyone in that room is looking at you like, what the fuck is he doing here? Not because of your color, but because you're not wealthy enough, you're not rich enough, you're not influential enough to be around us. You're not even influential enough to talk to us. You don't have that status to be in this room with us. That hurts worse than racism. That cuts deeper, way worse than racism. Well, that's how humans are, man. It's classism all the way until the time you die, bro. It's even classism in the retirement home. Some old people get special treatment from the nurses and the doctors because of their family has money, or their daughter has money that's paying the fucking nursing home and all that shit. It's classism until the day you die, man. Until the fucking day you die. You can't escape it. You can't escape it unless you just go around animals. You can't. You know. And that's my rant, man. That's my rant about classism and people. You know, we will always be classist beast. You know, it's just it's so funny to me because I remember back in the day, a girl in fucking elementary school left me for another dude who runs faster than me, who ran faster than me. She saw the dude could run faster than me, and then she left me quickly. So that should tell you that we're born with that shit, bro. We're born with that shit. Even in pre-K and elementary school, man, there's classism happening too, man. You know, a girl will leave a boy for another boy that probably could draw better, that can run faster, that can, that's better looking. We're born with this shit, bro. We are born. That's why you have little kids telling grown-ups, telling people that they're ugly and shit. We're born with this shit, bro. We're born. You can't take it out of people, man. When that girl left me for the other dude who could run faster than me, I was so heartbroken. But later on in life, bro, I get it, man. This is just how people are, man. We're classism beast. Masquerading ourselves as deep beings when we're not deep at all. We're not deep, we're not civilized, we're not none of that shit. We're classist, shallow, fucking animalistic beast at the end of the day. That's all we are, and that's all we will ever be. But that's my rant, bro. That's my rant. Leave a comment down below, subscribe, share. I'm always down to talk with you guys. We just hit 1,000. Let's keep it up. Let's make this the most talked about podcast on YouTube. It's your boy JP, and I'm clocking out.